And welcome everyone to Films with the Women in My Life. I am your host, Brennan, and joining me tonight is the mother in my life, Mama K. Mama K, say hi to everybody.
I'm the mom. I'm the first woman in his life.
Yes, I guess technically the first woman in my life.
Technically, yeah.
And
literally.
Yeah, I suppose. Literally. And and tonight we will be reviewing Captain Marvel. So Captain Marvel is the millionth movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
It's not the millionth movie, but
it's
okay.
pretty close.
It's
not
that
what
close.
Number is it? 20 something?
Yeah. I don't know. It's been 10 years.
Yeah, it's been a long time building up, and it's starring Brie Larson, who we know from many other things, but this is her first role in a Marvel movie. Usually you have a lot of other characters start somewhere else, but this is her starting role, and she plays Carol Danvers, also known as Captain Marvel by the end of the movie. So I'm going to give
Is she, though? Is she known as Captain Marvel? Do they actually call her Captain Marvel at any point? No.
Maybe at the end. Well, we don't want to give that we don't want to give that away just yet, but
okay. Well, we can talk about that. That's kind of a sticking point with me. So, I like when people have actual names and they actually talk about what the title.
They're called what they're called.
Yeah, she had a lot of names in this movie. So
she did. I'm gonna use Carol Danvers. It is Carol. I'm gonna use that as her main name since I think that was her real name
before she got married to Marvel.
Is that how it worked?
No. I don't know. Well, Marvel's more like a mafia, I think, than a marriage. So.
Wait, you signed long contracts, and I don't know how long she's on for, but.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's probably 9 movies like other people. So.
Yeah, I'm thinking not. All right, so anyway, Captain Marvel stars Carol Danvers as she becomes one of the most powerful heroes in the universe. While a galactic war between 2 alien races reaches Earth, Danvers finds herself and a small cadre of aliens at the center of the maelstrom. So that is the loose plot as given by IMDb. And so I guess we'll just, before we go any further, we'll say if you haven't seen it, we're going to go into spoilers now. I figure if you're listening to this, you've probably seen it and all the other Marvel movies. And but if you're a newcomer, right here, we're going into spoilers. So if you have any interest, come back later.
Yeah, this is not spoiler free.
No, this is going to be we don't do spoiler free. We do spoiler free for the first 5-ish minutes most of the time, and then it's everything. So
okay, so we're almost at 3 minutes. So let's start spoiling this.
Yeah. So at the plot, I'll give a quick way of how we rate things here. We do 4 different categories on a scale from 1 to 5. The plot, the characters, the visual and sound, and the overall resonance and feel. Is it as good as the sum of its parts, or better, or worse? So, starting with the plot, Mama K, what'd you think of the plot as a movie on a scale from 1 to 5?
Okay, so I think the plot is probably a 4, and the reason I give it a 4 is probably because if you're coming from the outside world and you're not really well-versed in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it might be a little hard to follow, or maybe not interesting enough to follow. She's interesting. Her character's interesting. Most people know Nick Fury because they know Samuel L. Jackson, so he's kind of the same type of character everywhere he plays, so they're going to know that. But when it comes to all the aliens and I don't know. I think you really have to have a little bit of background to really get everything out of this movie, so.
Yeah, I would agree that you can't jump into this I mean, you could, but you're definitely not going to get as much out of it. And I say that about the majority of Marvel movies is you can usually, especially the standalone ones, you can jump in as a non-watcher and understand a good amount of it, but it'll always be more rewarding if you've seen the others. So,
or if it's if it's a character that you have background with, like people know Captain America, people know Spider-Man. You know, I think Captain Marvel in general is just not well known outside of like the comic book or Marvel Cinematic Universe, so that kind of just puts it out there.
No,
My
it's not a
full,
Spider-Man,
so I was kind
Batman, or my theater was packed, absolutely full.
And even before Iron Man, I mean, 10 years ago when we saw Iron Man at the movie theater, I didn't know who Iron Man was, so I don't know. I mean, even Iron Man.
No, he wasn't really
like,
big when he came out.
yeah.
Like people think of him as Robert Downey Jr. pretty much only now. Like
Well,
you can.
that's pretty much Iron Man. I mean, there isn't.
I think there was probably some others in either cartoons or lower budget movies,
Yeah,
but it's not like Batman where there's like 7 Batmans. It's
right.
You know,
let's not even go there because that's a lot of Batmans.
Let's not talk about DC movies for the most part.
Okay.
I've given the plot actually higher than I thought I would have given it. I'm giving it a 3.5.
Okay. You're tough though.
I'm not that tough. 3.5
These people
is
know
good.
that you see like a million movies and that you know.
Yeah, I mean,
really...
I guess I watched out of all of us, I watched the most. But I mean, it's it needs to. 3.5 for a Marvel movie is pretty good. I would not say for most Marvel movies the plot is the strongest point for me in almost any of them. It's no, not in this one anyway. I mean, it's not. I can follow it, which is for a Marvel movie good. It's not just kind of a one action set piece to another. We're with Carol pretty much the whole movie, and that's helpful. I like her point of view, and you would absolutely be lost at the beginning because I guess we'll start. They start off on the Kree capital planet of Hala, and.
Right.
And she starts as a member of Star Force, where she is on a team with Jude Law is the leader of the team. He plays, how do you say that? Jan Rog, is that right? Jan Rog is like the mentor.
It's pretty forgettable, honestly. I just saw him as Jude Law. So
yeah, no, I mean he's
with contact lenses in.
He doesn't exactly disappear into his character.
Yeah.
But they're like a group of I don't know. They're like a war group. But they're like a small insurgency kind of team, and
they're like a team, like the Guardians are a team. I mean, they have every character's a little.
The Guardians had absolutely no characteristics whatsoever, and they were completely bland and forgettable.
Are you kidding me? Rocket? What?
No, I'm saying if the Guardians were completely bland and forgettable, yes, this would be very
true.
similar.
Although I dug the sniper chick, I thought she was cool, and I was bummed that they turned out to be the.
I mean, I guess I think they even lamented Brie Larson's character. They lamented Carol for having like any personality. Like they would always tease her for like showing any emotion whatsoever. Because I guess that's not the Kree way. I don't know about the Kree in the comics, so I guess
what is the Kree way?
Maybe that's just how they are. But their big enemy is the Skrulls, which are these alien shapeshifters, and they've been fighting forever, centuries it sounds like, and so that's like Carol and Jude Law's team's main mission is to kind of go in and defeat the Skrulls wherever they are. So
because the Skrulls want something, and the Kree don't want them to have it, but the Kree actually want it too. And...
They want, what was it? They want like light speed travel.
Yeah,
is like the thing. Which
comes
and
from
we should
Annette
say
Bening.
Annette Bening, who plays a person in Carol's past, who I can't remember who that Dr. Lawson, Dr. Wendy Lawson, but she is
also
manifested.
Named Marvel. I don't understand that part, but I think I
we'll get to that later in the plot, I think, but. Yeah, she's... why is she Marvel? I don't even remember why she's Marvel. But she's also the manifestation of a super intelligence called the Supreme Intelligence. Yes. And it's... that's like the powerhouse of the Kree. Like, it transforms into whatever you can recognize and like look up to or fear. Or, it's kind of nebulous, but it manifests itself so that you can talk to it because you can't speak to it in its true form, and that's overwhelming. So I mean that's where we start. I think this is all fine, like it looks good, kind of nonsensical, but I think it starts to pick up when we get to Earth. And she crash lands in a blockbuster, which immediately tells you this is not present day,
that it's 1990-ish, 5, 4, something like that.
Yeah, I think 90. I want to say 95 is when this one is. And
from the soundtrack, I think 95 is about it. First of all, can we talk about the soundtrack for just a second?
Because
I'm definitely Apple Tunesing that because that might be one of my favorite parts of the movie. So But that happens to me a lot. I always wind up getting the soundtracks for movies.
They usually have pretty good soundtracks, except Star is Born is excellent, but we'll get to that another day.
We disagree on A Star is Born, but okay.
I don't know how. But this is where we're reintroduced to a de-aged Samuel L. Jackson and Clark Gregg as Nick Fury and Phil Coulson, respectively.
Love when Phil Coulson shows up every time. Every time, I love when he shows up.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he's like just kind of like a goon in this movie. He doesn't really. I mean, he has a few moments, but he does. But like, yeah, he's
no,
always
but it's
great.
such a treat for Marvel people to see, the string of Phil Coulson going through everything. I mean, I don't know how many times he's died in the Marvel Cinematic Universe or on the Marvel television situation, but.
Do you watch S.H.I.E.L.D.? I don't watch S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, I've dabbled in S.H.I.E.L.D. It takes a lot. If you try to catch up with all the Marvel television shows, Netflix, and all that stuff, it's a lot. Luke Cage, love it. But, yeah.
Yeah, see, I've never seen any of the shows, so I don't know anything about the TV.
Well, this is
I understand
Nick Fury
it ties
with
a little
hair.
bit.
It's really, Nick Fury with hair and two eyes is where we start. It's basically a Nick Fury backstory. Origins of Nick Fury kind of comes up here, and how much he loves cats.
And how much he loves cats. What's that one cat we see?
Goose.
Goose the cat, yes.
Yeah, he's the only cat, but he also is a tentacled beast, so I'm not really exactly sure that he's a cat, but...
Yeah, he's the tentacle cat. So I think who's the only character we haven't really talked about is her friend. Her old Air Force pilot friend Maria, I think is her name. Is that right? Or I'm trying to remember. I think it's. I want to say it's Maria. Oh no. Yeah, it's Maria. Maria Rambo.
Yeah, Rambo. That's what I remember.
Yeah,
as Rambo.
Rambo. Okay, that's what they. Yeah. So she's her old Air Force pilot. We should say, and I don't think we've mentioned it yet, this whole time there's like flashbacks to her before being with the Kree, and it's all like Earth. She's like a kid, and she gets in like a car wreck, and she's an Air Force pilot, and people are messing with her, and she's trying to prove herself. Like that all.
There's a lot of parallels between that and when there's Skinny Steve in the first Avengers. I mean, they're almost dressed alike sometimes. It's really kind of strange. I almost felt like they took parts from other movies and like kind of put them into this movie. You know what I mean? Like it played well the first time around. Let's do it again.
Yeah, I liked the way the information was doled out here. So I should say this is directed by Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck, who also directed Half Nelson, Sugar. It's kind of a funny story, and my favorite of theirs is Mississippi Grind. I don't know if you've seen any of those, but those
I've seen none of those films. But
yeah, I mean, I've seen really Mississippi Grind and Half Nelson, and Mississippi Grind is, I think, an excellent. That's a Ben Mendelsohn movie too, which shows up for about 5 seconds in this. But
he's the guy that plays the head Skrull, right?
Yeah, he's like the boss. So yeah, Ben Mendelsohn's character is like. He's the boss of Nick Fury, but he's actually a Skrull. Like a Skrull has, because they're shapeshifters, he shapeshift into him at some point and is now him for the duration of him being in this. Right. And so, I mean, I think we've covered every character, or pretty much every character here, but on a scale from 1 to 5, how do you rate the characters in this movie?
Well, I think the characters that you're introduced to, I like the characters. I'd give them a 4.5. I really actually like Carol and her friend Rambo, and I would watch like their story. I would watch their origin story. I think that would be totally fun. It would look like sort of a female Top Gun kind of situation, and I would watch that going down all the time. I want to know more about her.
Really? That is interesting.
Yeah. I want to know what she's doing. I think she's interesting enough. And they didn't give us very much on her, and I'm thinking that she could really they could flesh out a story for her. I would like her to be like a really clandestine superhero too, and just kind of, you know,
to be like her War Machine or whatever.
No, I want her to be better than War Machine. I mean,
War Machine's good. I like War Machine.
No, War Machine just no. Mm-mm.
He shines.
I mean, can we talk about War Machine showing up at the end? I mean, in the little post-credits.
when we get to the end, I think that's appropriate. You know,
I know, but you know that, I mean, the soundtracks, I dig the soundtrack, but I think you know my favorite part of this movie.
Yeah, and well, it's not really even part of this movie. It's
really not, but
your favorite part of this movie is a teaser for the next movie.
Yeah, the post-credit scene. I mean, we still have Beardy Steve, and you know, and it's I'm so worried about what's going to happen to them that it was really nice to see them all alive. So, by all, I mean like him and Widow and Rhodey and
yeah, the ones people care about. Yeah, Bad Banner. Yeah.
Do people care about Rhodey? I'm not sure they do.
I like Rhodey. So you give this a 4.5 out of 5 for the characters. That is higher than mine. I'm at a 3.
You didn't like the characters.
I'm at a 3. I don't much care for most of the new characters. My favorite characters are old characters. I like Fury and Coulson far and away the best, and Coulson doesn't even do too much.
No, he doesn't do hardly anything. You don't like Carol Danvers. I was going in thinking
I like her more. I like her more than I thought I would, based on early buzz that she was kind of stone-faced and, you know, hard to relate with.
That's what I thought too, because I think when they show all of, you know, all the previews and trailers and everything, you don't get, I mean, the first thing you get with Carol in this movie is that she's actually kind of a sassy smartass. And when you're watching the trailers, you don't get any of that. Like, my biggest worry going in is that she was going to be that, a total flat cardboard, you know, character person.
I think she was better than that. I don't think she was that. But she also, I mean, and if I were to dole out my top, I don't know, 20 Marvel characters in the cinematic universe, I mean, she doesn't come close for me. Like that, like she's a good character, but she's probably the only new character I really even like at all. I don't like the misuse of Ben Mendelsohn. He's in it very little, and he doesn't really do anything. I don't care for Jude Law and his squad much at all. They're quite boring.
You're right about that.
Annette Bening, Annette Bening's there for
right.
5 minutes, and you know, she's
all right. You might pop my score down to a 4 because you're right. I mean, Annette Bening bothered me.
I'll give you that Brie Larson and her friend are you know, the best new characters for sure. And Nick Fury is, you know, what keeps this you know, going. I think he keeps it from kind of getting bogged down. Without him there, I don't know what happens with. I don't know who she plays off of. I don't know what it. It doesn't feel like anything without that. But I guess the only other character we haven't mentioned is Lee Pace returns very briefly as Ronan the Accuser, who was last seen in Guardians of the Galaxy, which is 20. Dead. Well, dead 20 years later. So I think at his appearance in this, which is kind of like what happens next in the plot. That's when you realize, the Skrulls aren't exactly the bad guys, and the Kree aren't the good guys. You know, the Kree are kind of trying to wipe out the Skrulls. They're kind of causing like a type of genocide on them, and the Skrulls claim that they want the interdimensional or the light speed travel to get away from the Kree, not for any nefarious purposes. And I don't know.
This is good that you're saying all of this right now, because as what happens to me in movies when I go and I'm very comfortable and I'm very relaxed and there's a lot of space in the movie, I wind up falling asleep. So during this crucial point of the film,
the plot part.
During the plot part, I fell asleep, and it's not unusual for that to happen to me. I don't know whether I get anxious in my head, and I'm like, I can't handle whatever's happening right now, and bam, I'll just like off. So I missed all of this, and I had to quiz my husband and Brennan's younger brother on the way home about what actually happened while I was sleeping. So I woke up and it was good. And so I missed the whole cat eating the Tesseract part, which I'm kind of bummed. I might have to see it again just to see that. But
yeah, the cat eating the Tesseract was, and that's something I don't quite understand because I remember the Tesseract from, what was it, Avengers? Was that the first appearance, or
no,
was it
the
Thor?
Captain America, First Avenger.
Oh, you're right. It was
Red Skull had the Tesseract.
Yeah, that's why he was on that planet in that other one.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't understand. At least I don't understand the journey of the Tesseract so much. I mean, I guess...
Yeah, we were talking about that a little bit, too, and I think that there's too much time.
There's a lot of time between... Well, I mean, we see it in First Avenger, which is 50-ish years before this.
Right.
And then we see it here... Yeah. And then, when's the next time we see it? I mean, chronologically, it's in...
When it's time for Infinity War.
Which is, that's like 20 years later. So, I don't know. I guess it's hard for me to follow where it seems like an important piece of everything, and it's hard for me to follow where... It just seems kind of thrown in, like, oh, it was here the whole time. Like, don't worry about it. Like, we remember...
Well, a little bit. It's one of the... So, the Tesseract, I think, this is my thought process behind it, is that it's one of the, pieces of the Infinity Stones that has to stay on Earth. So even before First Avenger, we saw that it was in Norway prior to that. So I'm just thinking that this time frame where it's, quote, missing, it's on Earth somewhere.
It has to be on Earth? I didn't know that was part of the criteria.
Well, I don't know that it does, but that's the only thing that makes sense to me, because otherwise, why is it always found on Earth?
Yeah, so. I guess that makes sense. I know that certain one, when they were split up, certain ones went to certain and like kind of always stayed there. But
right. I mean, just so that they wouldn't, they wouldn't be in the same places, and it wouldn't be easy for, he who shall not be named to get them.
Oh, you mean the great and noble Thanos, the hero of the galaxy? His name.
Stop! You're the worst.
Honestly,
no.
Yeah.
Nope.
Just tried to
I can't
save
deal
everyone.
with it.
No, he just tried to. He just tried to save everybody. He was,
No.
It was a necessary evil to.
he is Tony Stark. You know that, right? Basically, they have the same background.
Ultron's Tony Stark.
They'll do whatever they need to do. Well, yes, but it's the same. If Ultron is Thanos, then Ultron is Tony Stark. So.
I like Thanos because he's like a real person and not like so cartoony.
Did you also notice that the Skrull people, they had the chin thing going on like Thanos, like, so maybe they're somehow...
Oh, yeah, they did. They had a little line thing going on. So
I don't know what that's about, whether they just, like, figure, let's stick this crazy, vertical line things on people's faces, but that kind of bothered me a little bit.
Yeah, but... I mean, Thanos is a Titan. I don't think there's a relation of the... I don't know. Well, I guess back to like the plot of this now. So the whole turning point, which I know you don't exactly remember, is the Skrulls are the good guys in quotes, and the Kree are the bad guys. Like it's all flipped, and Jude Law's team is bad. I kind of saw this coming because I remembered Ronan from the Guardians movie, and I remember him being Kree. I knew he was kind of like a rogue faction of the Kree, but as soon as they started on Hala in the Kree Empire, I was like, oh, they're gonna flip the script. It's Jude Law's gonna be the bad guy, and they're gonna. And then once Ronan came in, I'm like, there you go. But what I don't really understand is why. Okay, the Kree are the bad guy, fine. So that makes the Skrulls the good guys? I don't know why they're good all of a sudden. Just because we kind of have to have black hat, white hat, and because we just want this interdimensional, or we just keep interdimensional, this light speed travel to get away from them, because of course they couldn't use it for anything nefarious. Like, I don't understand why we're all of a sudden. I mean, maybe is it like socio-political, like, oh, they're refugees, and that's relating to refugees now. Like, if that's what they're trying to do,
I don't know.
I don't think it works.
I think sometimes it's just people, they want to flip it on people so that that it's not a straightforward thing, and maybe that is a socio-political way of saying something that just because it looks like this doesn't mean that's what it is. But I think it's just a plot that people use a lot in films to keep the interest level going. Otherwise, Otherwise, what, it's just going to be them interacting with Skrulls, and the Skrulls keep trying to get it, and then they keep, moving on to a new place. Let's go over to Maria's house. Maybe they'll not show up at Maria's house, but they do,
Yeah.
Otherwise, it gets boring.
I guess wish that it was a little more the Skrulls. When the Kree became bad, the Skrulls didn't automatically become good. I kind of wish they had to be caught when it says they were caught in the middle. I kind of wish they were more caught in the middle and not more of side flipping. I kind of wish that the Skrulls and the Kree were both bad. They both had their own nefarious needs, and Captain Marvel had and her like little ragtag squad of Shield and her one friend had to figure out how to end everything without screwing it all up. But that's...
I don't know that the Skrulls came out good. I just think that this little ragtag fugitive fleet of them,
yeah, maybe it's not all the Skrulls.
Got their point.
It's these like dozen or couple dozen Skrulls that
we see. It might not even be all the Kree. I mean, space is big, man.
Well, they have the Kree Empire home planet, which leads me to believe if it's not all the Kree, it's at least the military and like political faction. Right. Like it's the powers of the Kree. Like but
the military industrial powers.
So it sounds like you definitely I think liked it more than I did. I'm definitely being a little harder on it than it probably deserves, and that's because when we get to the visual and sound portion of this, what do you out of 1 to 5? What do you think of the visual and sound?
I give it like a 3, only because
wow, we are so opposite.
No. Well, can I say why?
Sure, yeah.
Because when I get bothered by something, I get bothered by something.
What was it?
When they were, so they're in the ship. And they're going into like the Beggar's Canyon part of, do you know the reference I'm making?
Yeah,
so they're going into the Beggar's Canyon part of the Star Wars, following somebody through. And honest to God, I swear that they are using the sound effects from when Anakin Skywalker is pod racing in first terrible sequel. Yeah. It was the same sounds like this. It's the same exact sound. Even afterwards, I asked Griffin, I said, did you hear the pod racing sound? And of course he was like, yeah. And those other guys kind of looked like Jar Jar Binks, the
dude
Skrulls that weren't adults or whatever.
Yeah, they had the bug eyes.
Like idiots.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were somewhere between a Pog and Jar Jar Binks. So I was like, what? It's happening here.
That is harsh. Wow, I did not see that coming. I mean, I
really.
So, it's funny when you mentioned the canyon scene. When I thought of that, I thought of Independence Day when they are fighting the big alien ship, and they all have shields. And Will Smith and his buddy are flying through the canyon, and then he has to do some maneuvers, and he blows up the one alien ship, and he drags them around. That's what I was thinking of in that scene.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that's very different.
But I mean, we both thought of another. It's kind of similar. We both thought of another alien movie where they're flying around a canyon. Yeah. It was, it's. But what I really liked, I gave this a 4.5 out of 5. I really liked the special effects and the visual, like all the visual sound stuff. And I think I think what I liked most, I like the Kree. Yeah, I know you don't like space, but like, I like the Kree planet. It looks really cool. I like the mixed like race of the Kree, how some are green and some are human, but they all kind of have little things that are different. I love their suits. Yeah. Their suits are great. The way that the helmets just like pop up and they can go underwater and they can go in space for a while.
That's too cartoony for me. I want it to be more, you know me, I want it based in reality. Like my favorite scenes were when they were on Earth. And I like the scenes at Maria's house, but I also liked when they were like at Vasquez Rocks, that area where the rocks kind of go up sideways. You see them in, all kinds of commercials and everything. And when they're out in the desert, they're out in Rosamond. I like, but because the other stuff is just, you can take so much poetic license with it. You don't have to really,
I guess, but
it can be anything.
I guess it's because this is like the kind of movie where I'm going to see stuff be looking cool. Like, because if I'm looking for a good, plot with good characters that I care about, I'm not really gonna. There's not very many Marvel. There's a couple, but for the most part, Marvel movies, I go and see, the spectacle, like the big, see it on the big screen kind of stuff.
the thing is my favorite Marvel movies is just like fighting on Earth, but it's like hand-to-hand combat. It's
right, you like Winter Soldier, and
right.
you like First Iron Man, and
Yeah, that's
which are
so
great. I mean, people
stuff.
I think that's most people's favorites.
I don't know. I mean, I like Guardians, but Guardians is different. It's
Guardians
like you have to have a whole different.
For some reason, I mean, they're good, but I think I like this more than Guardians, and that's crazy for me to say, but
yeah, no, well, I don't know. I think the characters in Guardians are better, but
I guess there's
more characters.
I mean, if I had to pick favorites, I'm thinking Thor Ragnarok, which is I love that movie. That is a great time, and Civil War. I love Civil War.
Civil War is great. I mean, you can't leave out Deadpool, though. Come on.
That's not MCU. I mean, it is. Maybe it'll be
it's
now,
not,
but
well, yeah, but it's Marvel, so
yeah. I mean, but like, what you got the X-Men then? Like, we're gonna count Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man?
Nope. Well, Spider-Man, but not. No.
But not Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man or Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man.
No, none of the Hulk, none of that.
Yeah, Ang Lee, Incredible Hulk. Yeah, from like 2003.
No. We don't need any of that.
Yeah.
Black Panther, yes.
Yes, Black Panther. That's a good one.
Yes.
I like her suit and the way that her hands glow, like, and she has like this like it's like fire plasma, like it's just energy. It's just like an energy punch. Like I they made her definitely overpowered compared to the other superheroes, but
she's the best powered now. I mean, she flies, for God's sake.
Yeah, she's kind of like the best of. She's kind of like a Thor and Iron Man and like Scarlet Witch. You take all the better parts of them, and then you get her. And but yeah, I really like the effects and everything involved with visual and sound wise. I guess sounds I didn't really. I mean, it all kind of ties together. But
the sound is good because of the soundtrack. But
yeah,
Samuel L. Jackson sings in this movie, so if for nothing else, you want to go and hear him, do a little early Motown.
Yeah, I mean, if that's your thing,
it doesn't have to be your jam. It's just fun.
Yeah. So I guess at the end, we're pretty much at the end here. There's the big space fight, and you get a fight with it's like the showdown between Carol and
the Jude Law character.
And Jude Law. Sorry, yeah, Jude Law. I can't remember his character's name. You see Ronan's ship, and he kind of flies away, and he's scared or whatever. And then you get Fury. He's drafting an initiative to find other heroes.
Yes.
And it's originally called, what's it called? I can't remember the original name of it. It's called.
I don't know, but what does it become?
It becomes the Avenger Initiative because she had on her jet, it was Carol the Avenger Danvers on her Air Force jet. So that's
her nickname.
Yeah, that's your where it all comes from is from Captain Marvel. Which again, I think you're right. I don't think they call her.
Is it though? Because Captain America is the first Avenger, if we all remember correctly from the title of that movie, the First Avenger.
Right.
Yeah.
But
just.
I mean,
they never said that in that movie, so I guess I should.
Yeah, they never call him when they say Avengers, they're referring to the word. I mean, I guess it's technical. Yes. The word Avenger. Why they use that is because of Captain Marvel, but. And then we get to your favorite part after the movie's over.
My favorite part.
So, mid-credits scene, we get Steve Rogers, Natasha, Bruce Banner, and Rhodey are all hanging around. Where are they exactly? They're
at the Avengers facility.
Okay, so they're at...
And they...
Go ahead.
Yeah, they have the Nick Fury's... What we find out is a pager... Even though...
Right, the pager that we see at the end of Infinity War.
Right, which I didn't know it was a pager, but okay, it's a pager, like old school. But it's had some modifications, from Carol Danvers, so that's cool.
As they all have.
Yeah. And so the pager goes off, and because Nick Fury sets it off, then all of a sudden the pager they lose the signal for the pager, and then who is there with the Avengers in the facility?
It's Carol Danvers. It's Captain Marvel, and she's asking for Fury. Her first and only line in the thing is, "Where's Fury?"
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's very exciting. For those of you who need to know, it is a Beardy Steve, and that, sort of blew up Twitter when that happened last year. So I think that everyone's going to be thrilled to see that.
Yes, the Beardy Steve is by far the most anticipated.
Hey, he has his own Funko Pop, so I think it's
He probably has like 50 Funko Pops. Like
Beardy Steve, Steve does, but
yeah, that's what I mean. In general, like he's probably got a ton.
Yeah, but you got to have a beardy one. I mean, number 288, I think it is.
Okay.
I'm waiting for Goose the Cat to get his own Funko Pop. I think that would be fun to have. Goose the Cat is not dissimilar from Brennan's cat Pooh Bear.
Yes.
Although it does have a fully functioning tail, unlike Pooh Bear.
I have a cat who is missing the majority of his tail and kind of has a similar color pattern to a goose.
Yeah, it's a cool orange cat. We did neglect something that I'd like to go back to really quickly. As you're sitting there, you're waiting for the movie to start, you're seeing previews. We got to see an Endgame preview, which, the same preview that we've all seen, and a Spider-Man Far From Home preview. And then it gets ready to start with Marvel, and it's this really cool tribute to Stan Lee. And it was like,
oh yeah, they
did a good job.
That is really good.
They did it.
So yeah, that opening shot that they always have where it's all the different Marvel characters. It's, you see like Black Panther and Captain America, and they're all popping out, and then it forms the Marvel logo. And instead they show it with all of Stan Lee's various cameos in the movies. Yeah. And it's done the same way.
Pictures of him with some of the stars.
Yeah, it's really and then cool. It says "Thank you, Stan." I don't know about you. You said did you have a big audience in yours?
No, it was like half full.
In ours, I was in a packed theater, probably about 100 people, and that got a big applause, like huge applause.
Well, I'm in Maine, and I don't think any movie I've ever seen gets anything at all happening from the audience. And also it was snowing, so people did not leave their homes today. So
you'd think they would all go to the movies because there's power out.
Well, but you have to get to the movie, and you have to drive in the snow. And
people in Maine are hardy; they can make it.
Well, not so much anymore. They're just like, we're gonna stay home on Sunday and watch golf. So,
and that's pretty much that. We get one more post-credit scene. Where Goose climbs onto Nick Fury's desk and he coughs up the Tesseract, which I think you told me earlier you did not know he ever ate the Tesseract because that was part of the part you dozed off during.
Right. My surprise factor in that was 100% because I was like...
for you, what? That was really effective.
It was so effective because I'm like, hairball, Tesseract. Okay, that's a plot twist I didn't see coming because I slept through the first part of it. So... I gotta pay attention better. I don't know. Drink coffee. I'm not sure.
This sounds like one you might want to revisit. I don't know.
It might be. I've slept through whole movies before. I think I only watched like 15 full minutes of Solo, which,
Solo's
as a kid,
good.
I was a huge Star Wars fan. So my disappointment level at myself was overwhelming. But anyway.
So, as an overall, Mama K, would you recommend Captain Marvel?
I would recommend Captain Marvel. Drink your coffee before you go. Make sure that you're caffeinated enough to stay through the actual plot scenes that are going to, make a difference in the end, and so that you're not asking in the middle of the movie, are these guys are bad guys now? And also, so you know what's happening when the cat horks up the Tesseract.
Yeah, so, if it's, it's not overly long. It's 2 hours, but if that's gonna get to you, I guess prepare yourself.
Prepare yourself. It's all about that.
So, you clearly, I think, you're the Marvel fan out of all of the co-hosts here at the show. You're definitely the biggest Marvel fan. I'm mixed. I like a good amount of them. It's a recommend. I think. If you like Marvel movies, definitely a recommend. You're gonna want to see this. I know it got some bad press in the beginning, and I don't think it is definitely better than I was expecting. I had tempered expectations because of how early reviews and people talking about how it's not working coming in, but no, it's worth your time, especially if you're a Marvel fan. If you're not, maybe see it with someone who is, because it could.
Because they got some splaining to do.
Yeah, especially the first. I think once you're on Earth, after the first half hour, you can kind of get with it. I'm gonna say that first half hour is gonna kind of throw you for a loop if you don't know any of the backstory on her, or if you haven't seen many of the Marvel movies. It's kind of like watching Dune, the beginning of Dune. Like you can't really follow it at all if you don't know it already. But it's a recommend. It's a softer recommend, but it's a recommend.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun way to spend a couple hours. Get some popcorn.
Yeah,
drink your coffee.
Yeah, and drink your coffee. I did have to pee twice during this, but I always have to pee during movies.
Oh, should that be part of your, rating system? Is how many times you had to get up to go to the bathroom?
Well, if it was, is that good or bad? Because Infinity War, I think I peed 4 times.
I don't know.
With the trailers, it's like 3.5 hours.
I'm concerned about Endgame for you because I understand that's going to be very long, and maybe there's going to be an intermission in it, which I know that
that would be awesome.
This generation doesn't.
Yeah, I know. I'm the youngest one here. I'm like, intermission. Give me 4 intermissions. Like, I can't. It's so much.
You also just might want to, get your bladder checked. I don't know. I worry about you.
I like to drink my large Diet Coke when I'm there, so I'm gonna have to pee during it.
All right. Well, you have the bladder of a tiny girl.
Yeah, I could purposely dehydrate myself, I guess. So that's pretty much all for Captain Marvel. Who would you recommend this to? Just Marvel fans, or you think anyone could enjoy this?
I think Marvel fans, but I think it's not going to grab the older generation. I think anybody that's college age ish or anything like that. Millennials, I guess it'll be good. It doesn't have anybody that's going to grab you to make you come see it unless you're like a Samuel L. Jackson fan.
Like my brother.
I don't think there's... What's
like
that?
My brother.
Yeah, because he's a Samuel L. He's already seen it twice.
Wow.
So...
Huh. I never would have guessed that.
He saw it opening night up with his friends at UMaine, and then he came back down. I said, I bought tickets, and he's like, that's all right, I'm ready to go again. So... And he did a pretty good job not spoiling it for me. He says things like, "Oh, you're gonna be really excited when you see the post-credit scene." That makes me know that it probably has Captain America in it. So yeah. So I think I don't know. I think your average film goer, maybe not, but
yeah, I think for the most part, yeah, Marvel fans, that nice 18 to 35 demographic, yeah, it's dudes. Yeah, it's a first female Marvel hero. Wonder Woman's DC, so I don't know. But I don't know if that really, does it bring? I mean, this is women in my life. You're the women. Does it bring you guys in because it's a lady star or?
I mean, sure. I think it does. I think that the fact that Friday was International Women's Day, that doesn't hurt. What did hurt it a little is I saw something on Twitter today that Brie Larson was working a concession stand, maybe in LA, I'm not sure where exactly, during the premiere. And I'm like, I don't know that I'd ever seen a dude working a concession stand during the premiere of a movie. So I was kind of bummed about that.
Huh. I did not hear that. It's a weird,
Sorry, that went sideways a little bit, but, but I do like that. I was really excited when Wonder Woman came out. I'm not a DC fan, but I was excited when Wonder Woman came out because seriously, I mean, how many more brooding dude movies can you see? And her character was DC. Awesome, especially in DC. Jesus, man, they're so just literally. But she's, her character is so charming, and she, I was in. So, yeah, I guess why not? Why not go see it because it's a woman's movie? That's maybe why I want to see more of the woman buddy movie, because we don't get those unless they're like, comedies.
Well, you think Scarlet Witch is getting a movie?
Scarlet Witch?
Oh, not Scarlet Witch. She doesn't get a movie. I meant Scarlet.
You mean Black Widow?
Yeah, because Scarlett Johansson. So I think Scarlet Witch. Black Widow.
You got your Scarlets.
Yeah.
I would go see a Widow movie just because she's a spy, and I dig spy movies.
I think hers would be different. I think hers would be something.
Hers would be
like more like Winter
probably
Soldier.
based on
yeah,
Earth.
You would probably like it actually. Yeah,
and I would probably be able to stay awake during the whole thing. So that's a big thumbs up for me. And I would go see that. I mean, I'd go see most any, I think, Marvel character movie that they're going to bring out. So
you're going to see the
like
Vision Hawkeye buddy duo.
Dude, I love Hawkeye. There's what's not to love about Hawkeye. Also, Ronan. I'm not liking that. The whole,
yeah, Hawkeye. Rumored
Hawkeye
to be
turns
Ronan,
into Ronan,
but not Ronan. Ronan,
but not Ronan. Exactly. I mean, they got to get a little more creative. And
that's from the
not so creative
comics,
as they did with.
It's from the comics. It's not like they made it up for the movies. There is Ronan the Accuser and Ronan the assassin spy.
Even then,
guy.
that's short. That's short-sighted in the comics to do that. So
yeah,
just a thought to people who are making their own comics now. And
continuity it matters.
It's harder
now.
Yeah, continuity matters.
Oh, that's DC. That's X-Men. Like it's tough.
We didn't talk. Can we just take a few seconds to talk about Nick Fury's eye?
Oh, and yeah, please. Yeah, let me know what you think about this.
Well, I'm a little put off by the fact that he's lost his eye to a cat scratch.
Yes.
I thought it was going to be more dramatic when you find out what happens, but also I think there's some continuity issues with the eye being gone. Because when he was in Winter Soldier with Robert Redford, he had his eye then, and I believe that was after the...
He still had a patch, though, didn't he?
No. Well, no, when he was in the movie, but there was a picture that Robert Redford showed...
that was...
Captain America, Steve Rogers.
I see.
Yeah, and it was from... I'm thinking it's from beyond the Captain Marvel timeframe, the 1990s. So maybe not. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's before that. If it was before that, I'm not wrong. I mean, I am wrong. But, yeah. But I'm still kind of bummed. I mean,
it was,
maybe people think that's charming.
No, it was dumb. I did not like it. I must have blacked it out because I completely forgot about that. Yeah, it's... Even if it is like a demon space tentacle cat, like, it's dumb. Like, it's... he should have... why lose his eye at all in this? It's kind of... I mean, I guess, we want to see... doesn't have an eye patch. Everyone's sort of thinking about it. I wasn't really even thinking about it. I was just like, he's younger. The other ones are 15, 20 years from now. Like, stuff happens to him. Like,
well, maybe they wanted to fit it in, and maybe they didn't think that at any point during whatever, now that we're going to have Endgame, and that's going to sort of end this, whatever's happening in the MCU, maybe Nick Fury is not going to be out there as much, and maybe there's not going to be the opportunity to talk about why he has an eye patch. But do you have to? I think there's things that you can just leave and not have to explain it and let people, think about it and maybe go back to the comics and read about it. And, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. In the comics, maybe that's how he loses his eye. I have no idea.
I'm not really sure how it goes. I can't imagine he loses it to getting his eye scratched by a cat, but maybe. I don't know. Weirder stuff's happened in the comics.
True.
So, is there anything?
All right, man.
Is there anything coming up in the next few weeks? I know we got Endgame, but that's not for about another, month and a half, 2 months. Anything else coming up that you're looking forward to? Us? Jordan Peele?
Not.
Us trailer? Yeah.
What's that now? Us?
Jordan Peele's new movie? Any interest?
Yeah, I'll have to watch that backward, just like I watched
because
Get Out.
Any horror movie, even though Get Out's barely a horror movie, but
it's scary.
I
mean, it's
on the horror movie scale.
It's
much more psychological. It's much more like a Black Mirror episode than like a slasher or like a ghost movie kind of thing.
No, it's Hitchcockian, and that's not scary. I mean,
it's not that scary.
That's it. Listen, anytime that I have to hold my breath, it's not. I don't want to watch it because it's too much. So I'm not going to be able to see that at the movie theater. I'm
so you will not be on for our Us review because I'm sure we'll have one with somebody. But
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to say that I could, but I don't. I don't need that in my life. So
yeah. All right. Well,
so probably not.
We'll see what's coming down the pike. I know you'll definitely be on for Endgame when that comes out.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, so much crying, I'm sure.
And we'll probably see that a few times beforehand. We'll have to, because there's just so much between
Yes.
your sleeping and my pee
Yes.
breaks. We'll have to, you know.
I will not sleep. I have not slept during any of those movies.
Any of the Infinity Wars?
No.
The one?
Slept through any of the Endgame movies. Not one. No, none of the Captain Americas, none of the Iron Mans. I slept through all of second Guardians of the Galaxy, so I had to watch that again. But
Yeah, that was okay.
you know, sometimes you're just tired, and the seats these days are just so comfy.
Oh, they're pretty good.
You know.
So. All right. Well, thank you for being on, Mama K. I'm sure we'll have you on in the future.
Okay. Sorry we went long. That's what happens.
We're kind of loose. We go. We had a lot to talk about on this one. So.
We did.
All right. Thank you for being on, and this is Brennan signing off. And until next time, everyone, enjoy your movies.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening to Films with the Women in My Life. If you enjoyed being a listener in our life, subscribe to us on iTunes. Please leave a review as it helps more people find the show. Like us on Facebook at Films with the Women in My Life. Follow us on Twitter at FilmsWomenPod. And check out our website, filmswiththewomen.libsyn.com. That's filmswiththewomen.libsyn.com. Original music for the show was created by Ian Burke. Original artwork created by Nicole D'Alessio. This show is produced by Brennan Snyder. Thank you again for listening and enjoy your movies.